Do not wait for your world to change. Speak and it shall change. The voice within you, when aligned with certainty, shapes the very fabric of reality. You are not here to beg the universe. You are here to command it with the truth of your assumption. Many whisper prayers out of desperation, but creation does not respond to desperation. It responds to belief. So when you speak these 3 lines, do not whisper them in fear. Say them with the knowing that what you speak is already accomplished. Let your tone carry conviction, not confusion. These lines are not magic spells. They are spiritual declarations, spoken from the place where all things are already fulfilled. This line pulls you out of the waiting room of life and places you at the finish line. It brings the invisible into form because you no longer seek, you claim. Your subconscious hears this and begins to rearrange your world to match your belief. This is not fantasy, it is creation. When you say this, feel the result in your body, feel the peace of having, feel the joy of fulfillment. It's not in the future, it's now. And as you persist in that inner state, the world outside must reflect it. This removes all doubt. This is the sword that cuts through fear, delay, and logic. You are not here to figure out the how. Say this and walk as one who knows that what is yours is already moving toward you, even now. Imagination is not a fleeting dream or idle fantasy. It is the very power that shapes your life. Everything you now see in your world was once invisible. The clothes you wear, the chair you sit on, the home you dwell in, all of it was once imagined. Someone thought it, believed in it, felt it as real, and it came to pass. This is not coincidence. This is law. What you consistently assume and feel to be true, regardless of whether the outside world agrees or not, will inevitably harden into fact. The world around you may present evidence that contradicts your inner vision. It may show you lack, limitation, rejection, or delay. But none of that matters unless you give it power. The outer world is merely the shadow of the inner. It is the echo, not the voice. When you understand that your reality is not determined by what is, but by what you accept as true in your imagination, you are no longer a victim of circumstance, you become its master. To assume something is to take it as already real. When you assume your desire is fulfilled and you do so persistently, you are planting the seed, and if you water it with feeling, deep, emotional certainty, it must grow. Do not be deceived by the time it takes to appear. Seeds do not bloom the moment they are sown, but in the invisible, the creation is complete. You are not hoping for it to happen, you are living in the knowing that it already has. This is why imagination is more powerful than effort. You could work tirelessly in the outer world, striving and struggling for years and still fail if your inner speech contradicts your desire. But one quiet moment of vivid, confident imagination can do what years of hard work cannot. The subconscious does not respond to effort. It responds to feeling. It responds to what you believe yourself to be, not what you want to be, not what you try to be, but what you accept as true right now. Imagination must be lived in. You do not merely visualize what you want, you become it. You think from it, you feel from it, you move through the world with the invisible garment of your assumption already worn. And as you do, the world will begin to shift. It must, for creation is finished. The moment you assume it, the work is done. The mind that dares to assume boldly and feel deeply will see miracles. But to the mind that waits for proof before belief, life will remain a cycle of delay. You are not waiting for life to give you permission. Life is waiting on you. When you imagine with conviction, when you feel it to be real, you are sending a command to the universe itself. This is who I am. This is what I know. And life will always mirror that knowing. Words, no matter how beautifully spoken or repeated, are powerless unless they are saturated with feeling. You can affirm 1,000 times, I am wealthy or I am loved, but if those words are spoken without the emotional substance of belief, They are little more than noise in the mind. The creative power lies not in the words themselves, but in the feeling that accompanies them. It is feeling that impresses the subconscious, not the sound of your voice. To speak with conviction is to feel the truth of what you are saying. It is to step into the state of the wish fulfilled and speak from it, not toward it. Most people speak of what they want as if they are still reaching for it. I want to be successful. I hope things get better. These are not creative declarations, they are confessions of lack. True manifestation begins when you stop talking about the desire and start speaking as the person who already has it. Feeling is the bridge between the invisible and the visible. When you speak words backed by the emotional certainty of their reality, you are not merely hoping, they are commands. The subconscious mind does not understand words alone. It responds only to what you feel to be real. If you say, I am abundant, but deep inside feel scarcity, the feeling wins. It always does. You must speak only what you are willing to feel. So how do you do it? You begin by quieting the outer noise and turning inward. Before you speak your affirmations or intentions, you must settle into the state of being. Imagine the result, not vaguely, but vividly. What does it feel like to have your desire already fulfilled? What emotions arise in you? Relief, joy, peace, confidence? Dwell in those emotions and from that state speak. Now your words carry weight. Now they move something within. This is why some people repeat affirmations for months and see no change. It is not the words that lack power, but the absence of feeling. They speak without embodying. They say, I am confident, while still vibrating with insecurity. But the one who takes time to feel, to believe, to live inwardly as the person they declare themselves to be, that person speaks, and the universe listens. When your words align with your emotional state, they become a force. They no longer request, they declare. And the world, being but a mirror of your inner state, reflects them back in form. Do not underestimate the power of a single sentence spoken with full belief. It can shatter limitations, call forth opportunity, and rewrite the entire course of your life. So speak, but only from the state of fulfillment. Do not beg, do not plead, declare and feel, for it is not enough to say, I am. You must feel, I am. And when you do, the invisible begins to take shape. Your world will shift not because of what you said, but because of how deeply you felt it when you did. Manifestation does not begin with asking, pleading, or hoping. It begins with declaring. There is a vast difference between a person who asks for their desire and one who speaks as though their desire is already fulfilled. Asking places you in the vibration of lack, while declaring places you in the vibration of having. To speak as if it's already done is to claim your power as the creator of your world. You are no longer chasing the thing you want. You are living in the assumption that it is yours now. This is not a mental game. It is a shift in identity. When you speak from the end, you are not trying to become something. You are acknowledging that you already are. You bypass the delay. You collapse the distance between desire and fulfillment. The moment you speak it as done, with full conviction and inner acceptance, it begins to move into form. You must understand this. The universe does not respond to desperation. It responds to certainty. When you speak with certainty, you impress your subconscious mind with a command. You are not asking if it might happen. You are declaring that it already has. I am successful. I am loved. It is done. These statements, when spoken from the end, are not future intentions. They are present truths. And your world, which is only a reflection of your inner beliefs, will conform to this truth. Most people speak from their current state. They speak of what is, what they lack, what they fear. And as they continue to reinforce the present condition with their words, they keep it alive. But the one who understands the power of assumption speaks only from the fulfilled state. They do not say, I hope I get the job. They say, I am already hired. They do not say, I want to be healthy. They say, I am whole and well. And in speaking this way, they live from the reality they desire before it becomes visible. To speak as if it's already done is not to deny the present circumstance. It is to override it. You are not ignoring the facts. You are replacing them with a higher truth. You are speaking from a reality that exists in consciousness. And by doing so, you summon it into physical form. Your words become the bridge from the unseen to the seen. This is the secret of every transformation. It is not found in effort or struggle, but in bold declaration. Speak it until your inner world accepts it as natural. Speak it until it feels strange to imagine it any other way. Speak it until your entire being aligns with the version of you who already lives the life you desire. Do not wait for the world to give you permission. Speak from the end, not with arrogance, but with faith, not with force, but with knowing. It is already done, and because it is already done in you, it must now appear around you. Speak, and it shall be. You have been taught to think, to reason, to analyze every detail of your life. You have been conditioned to believe that control and effort bring results. But what if I told you the opposite is true? That the more you think, the more you stand in the way of the infinite intelligence that already knows the path. The universe does not require your struggle. It does not need your constant calculations, your worry, or your doubt. It only requires your alignment. The moment you cease your mental interference and surrender to the knowing that all is already done, the universe begins to move in ways you could never have orchestrated on your own. Most people live in a state of resistance, trying to force solutions, chasing outcomes, and exhausting their minds with unnecessary thought. But thought, when misplaced, becomes the very barrier to your manifestation. The mind, when overburdened, cannot perceive the subtle nudges of the universe. So, how do you let the universe think for you? You begin by assuming that it already has. You assume that every desire, every question, every need is already known. You do not beg. You do not chase. You assume. And you trust. When a problem arises, do not ask, how will I fix this? Instead, dwell in the knowing that it is already resolved. When a desire stirs within you, do not wonder, how can I make this happen? Simply embody the state of already having it. The universe will fill in the details. There is no need to struggle. There is no need to figure it all out. The greater mind, the unseen force that governs all things, is already at work. Step back, let go, and let it think for you. You have been led to believe that your mind is the master of your reality, that through sheer effort, endless analysis, and ceaseless thought, you can shape your world as you desire. But this belief is the very thing that keeps you bound in limitation. The mind was never meant to be your master. It was designed to be a servant, a tool that responds to the deeper intelligence flowing through you. Yet, instead of using it as an instrument of creation, most people allow it to become a source of exhaustion, filling their days with doubt, fear, and worry. Look at your life. How many times have you wrestled with decisions, going back and forth in your mind, only to feel more confused? How many nights have you spent replaying past mistakes or anxiously predicting future failures? This is the mind running unchecked, taking control when it was never meant to lead. Thought, when misused, becomes a prison. It traps you in cycles of overthinking, leaving you stuck, rather than allowing the universe to work on your behalf. But the truth is simple. The answers you seek do not come from force, nor do they come from struggle. They come from stillness. They come from allowing the deeper intelligence within you, the intelligence of the universe, to flow without resistance. The moment you stop exhausting yourself with unnecessary thought is the moment you open the door to real clarity. You do not need to figure everything out. You do not need to carry the weight of every decision on your shoulders. There is a force far greater than your conscious reasoning that already knows the paths. But it will not speak over your mental noise. It will not fight for your attention. You must create the space for it to guide you. Consider the moments in your life when you have experienced effortless knowing. Perhaps you have had a sudden realization, a flash of inspiration, or an inner nudge that led you exactly where you needed to be. That was not the product of overthinking. That was the universe moving through you, showing you the way when you least expected it. Imagine living from that state always. Imagine a life where decisions are made effortlessly, where guidance comes naturally, where you no longer strain to control every detail. That life is available to you the moment you surrender the need to overthink. The moment you recognize that the mind is not the source of wisdom, but merely a tool to carry out the wisdom that already exists. What then should you do when your mind races, when doubt creeps in, when you feel the urge to control every outcome? Pause. Breathe. Shift your awareness away from thought and into presence. Ask yourself, what would I know if I were already in alignment with the universe? Then let go. The answer may not come instantly, but it will come. It will arise naturally, effortlessly, without force. You do not need to struggle. The universe is already working in your favor. The same intelligence that keeps the stars in the sky and the earth in perfect motion is the same intelligence that moves through you. When you trust in that, when you cease the exhausting effort of trying to think your way to every solution, you will see how effortlessly life unfolds. Stop trying to control what was never yours to control. Your role is not to force, but to receive. Your job is not to struggle, but to allow. The universe is always speaking. Be still long enough to hear it. Let it think for you. Everything in your life, every circumstance, every relationship, every success or failure is a reflection of what you assume to be true. Whether you recognize it or not, your assumptions are shaping your world at every moment. You do not attract what you want. You attract what you assume. The beliefs you hold, consciously or unconsciously, impress themselves upon the unseen intelligence that governs all things, and in time they crystallize into physical form. Most people live under the illusion that their experiences dictate their beliefs, that they can only assume something is true once they see proof of it. But this is an error. The world is not forcing its reality upon you. You are the one shaping it through your assumptions. Your inner world precedes the outer. What you persistently assume, whether good or bad, must eventually harden into fact. This is an unbreakable law. Look at your life. What patterns continue to repeat? What struggles seem inescapable? If you look closely, you will see that these experiences are not random. They are the outpicturing of deeply held assumptions. Perhaps you assume that success is difficult, and so every opportunity feels like a battle. Perhaps you assume that people cannot be trusted, and so betrayal finds you time and again. Or perhaps you assume that life flows with ease, and so doors open effortlessly before you. Change does not begin outside of you, it begins in the realm of assumption. If you want to see something different in your life, you must first assume differently. The moment you make an assumption and persist in it, the universe begins to shift to reflect that new reality. But you must hold to it, unwavering. You cannot entertain a new assumption one day and fall back into old doubts the next. The universe is listening to the consistency of your inner state. Think of a time when you knew something would happen before it did. Perhaps you had an unshakable confidence about an outcome, and it unfolded exactly as you expected. That was not coincidence. It was the power of assumption at work. You did not need to hope, beg, or struggle. You simply knew, and because you knew, reality conformed. Now imagine using that same power deliberately. Imagine assuming wealth instead of lack, love instead of loneliness, success instead of failure. If you can persist in that assumption without letting doubt shake you, the world will shape itself accordingly. The external must follow the internal. It has no choice. But how do you shift an assumption when the evidence around you suggests otherwise? The key is to ignore appearances. The outer world is nothing more than a reflection of past assumptions, and just as a mirror cannot change until you change your expression, your reality cannot shift until you assume a new state. If you continue to react to what is, you will only create more of the same. But if you assume a new reality as true, even before the world reflects it, you will set a new cause in motion. You must dare to believe in the unseen. You must dare to assume that what you desire is already yours. Not tomorrow, not someday, now. Live as if it were already true in your mind, and watch as life rearranges itself to bring it into form. The universe does not operate by chance. It operates by law. What you assume, you become. What you assume, you experience. Choose your assumptions wisely, for they are the seeds of your reality. Assume greatness, assume abundance, assume love, and let the universe reflect it back to you. You have been taught that struggle is necessary, that effort and hardship are the price you must pay for success, love, and fulfillment. But this belief is the very thing keeping you from what you seek. The more you force an outcome, the further it drifts away. The universe does not respond to struggle, it responds to alignment. It responds to alignment. It responds to yourself. It responds to alignment with what you seek. The more you force an outcome, the more you respond to success, love, it responds to alignment. When you release control, when you stop chasing, when you let go of the need to force things into existence, you make room for the unseen forces to arrange everything in perfect order. Struggle implies resistance. It is the belief that you must fight against life to get what you desire. But have you ever noticed that the things you have to fight the hardest for often slip through your fingers? The person who chases love the most often finds themselves alone. The one who desperately seeks wealth seems to always lack. The harder you push, the more life pushes back. This is because struggle is rooted in fear. The fear that if you do not take control, things will not go your way. But the universe does not need your struggle. It needs your surrender. Letting go does not mean doing nothing. It means trusting. It means knowing that what you desire is already in motion, that the forces beyond your understanding are weaving the perfect circumstances together. When you act from a place of alignment rather than desperation, you move in flow with life rather than against it. Look at nature. The river does not struggle to reach the ocean. It flows effortlessly. The sun does not force itself to shine, it simply does. There is an ease, an intelligence, a rhythm that governs all things. When you detach from struggle, you align yourself with that rhythm. You stop interfering with the process and allow the universe to work in ways far greater than your mind could ever conceive. Think about the moments when things came to you with little effort. The unexpected job offer, the chance encounter that led to love, the perfect opportunity that seemed to fall into your lap. These moments did not arise from struggle, they arose from alignment. They happened when you were in a state of ease, not desperation. This is the natural way of things, and it is available to you always if you will only let go. But letting go requires faith. It requires you to release your grip on how things should unfold and trust that they are unfolding exactly as they should. It requires you to stop obsessing over when, where, and how, and simply embody the knowing that all is well. If you desire something, set the intention, assume it is already yours, and then step back. Live in the state of already having it, rather than in the state of longing. When you do this, the universe begins to arrange the pieces. The right people, opportunities, and circumstances will come to you, not because you forced them, but because you aligned with them. You were never meant to struggle through life. The need to struggle is an illusion, a belief that keeps you bound to lack and limitation. The truth is that life responds to your state of being. When you are at peace, life reflects peace. When you trust, life provides. When you let go, you receive. So release the need to control. Stop chasing, stop forcing. Stop believing that struggle is required. Instead, align yourself with the feeling of already having, already being, already knowing. Let the universe orchestrate the how, and you will see that what once seemed distant and difficult will come to you effortlessly. In the constant noise of life, most people search endlessly for answers, seeking them outside of themselves, hoping that somewhere in the chaos they will find clarity. But the truth is, the answers you seek are not out there, they are within you, waiting in the silence, in the stillness. The universe speaks in the quiet spaces between your thoughts, but you must learn to listen. Most people do not realize that their own minds are working against them. Their thoughts run in endless circles, filled with doubts, fears, and worries. The more they think, the more tangled they become, mistaking mental noise for progress. But thinking louder does not bring clarity. It only creates more confusion. True wisdom is found not in frantic searching, but in quiet surrender, Stillness is not emptiness, it is awareness. It is the space where you become receptive, where inspiration flows without effort. When you silence the noise of the mind, you open yourself to the intelligence that moves all things. This intelligence has always been present, guiding, nudging, whispering, but it cannot be heard above the chatter of a restless mind. Consider the ocean. When its surface is disturbed, it becomes chaotic, unable to reflect the sky above. But when it is still, it becomes a mirror perfectly capturing the heavens. Your mind is the same. When it is filled with constant thought, it cannot receive. But in stillness, the answers that once seemed elusive rise effortlessly into awareness. There is a reason why the greatest revelations often come in moments of stillness, in the quiet of the early morning, in a pause between activities, in the stillness of nature. When you stop striving, when you stop forcing, you become a vessel for something greater than yourself. It is not through effort that clarity comes, but through surrender. The modern world does not teach stillness, it teaches reaction. It urges you to fill every moment with activity, to solve every problem through thought and effort. But this is an illusion. The most powerful actions arise not from mindless motion, but from deep inner knowing. When you cultivate stillness, your actions become precise, guided by something beyond mere intellect. Think of those moments when life seemed to unfold perfectly, as if guided by an unseen hand. Those were not moments of struggle, but moments of flow, when you were so present, so alive that the right answers appeared effortlessly. This is the power of stillness. It does not come from outside of you. It is always within you, waiting to be accessed. But how do you cultivate this stillness? You do not force it. You do not demand silence from the mind. Instead, you simply observe. Let the thoughts come and go without attachment. Do not resist them, but do not engage them either. Create space between them, and in that space, you will feel the presence of something greater than thought itself. This is where intuition is born. This is where true wisdom arises, not from the mind, but from the stillness beneath it. The more you practice being in this space, the more effortless life becomes. The right decisions will arise naturally. The right opportunities will appear without struggle. The path forward will reveal itself, not through force, but through alignment. You do not have to fight your way through life. You do not have to chase or struggle or exhaust yourself with endless thinking. All that you seek is already seeking you. The universe is speaking, guiding, unfolding. But it can only be heard in the quiet. Make stillness your home. Let the noise settle, and in that sacred space of silence, the answers you have been seeking will reveal themselves effortlessly. Most people live in the state of wanting, constantly longing for something that feels just out of reach. They look at their current reality and allow it to dictate what they believe is possible. But this is not how creation works. The universe does not respond to longing. It responds to being. When you align your mind with the state of already having what you desire, the universe bridges the gap effortlessly. The key is to live in the end. Do not wait for external proof before you believe. Believe first and the proof will follow. You must think from the place of already being the person who has what you seek, already living the life you desire. When you do this, the unseen forces begin to move, rearranging the circumstances of your life to reflect your inner state. Most people do the opposite. They look at what is, they dwell on the lack, and they reinforce the very conditions they wish to change. They say, I want more money, but they continue to identify as someone who struggles financially. They say, I want love, but they continue to feel lonely and unworthy. In doing so, they keep themselves stuck in a cycle of longing rather than receiving. You must abandon this way of thinking. Instead of seeing your desire as something far off in the future, assume it is already done. If you were already the person who has the success, the love, the health, the abundance, how would you think? How would you feel? How would you move through the world? Step into that version of yourself now, not later. When you do this, something remarkable happens. Your actions, your thoughts, your emotions all begin to align with this new reality. You no longer move from a place of need, but from a place of certainty. And in this certainty, the universe responds. Doors that once seemed closed begin to open. People, opportunities, and circumstances appear as if by divine orchestration. But many struggle with this concept because they are trapped by what they see. They believe they must first have proof before they can believe. Yet all great manifestations begin in the unseen. The tree was once an invisible seed. The great masterpiece was once an idea. The life you wish to live already exists in potential. You must claim it now in consciousness before it materializes. Doubt is the enemy of this process. If you waver between belief and fear, between certainty and hesitation, you delay the unfolding of your desire. The universe is precise. It reflects back exactly what you hold in your mind consistently. If you are firm in your assumption, unwavering in your knowing, then reality has no choice but to conform. This is not about wishful thinking. It is about embodying a new state of being. You must let go of the identity of the person who is still waiting. Waiting only creates more waiting. You are not becoming, you already are. The shift happens the moment you decide to claim it fully, without doubt, without hesitation. You may wonder how long it will take for your desire to manifest, but time is irrelevant. The only thing that matters is the depth of your belief. If you persist, if you refuse to entertain any thought that contradicts your vision, then it must come to pass. The universe is not bound by time, it is bound by assumption. The stronger your assumption, the faster the bridge of incidents will unfold. So stop looking for signs. Stop waiting for proof. Live in the end now. Walk, speak, and think as though your desire is already yours. Feel the relief, the joy, the gratitude of already having it. Let that feeling guide your every moment, and soon you will watch as the world shifts to match your inner state. The universe is not your opponent, it is your mirror. Assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled, and reality will bend to reflect it. The law of the universe is a constant, unyielding force that is always at work, whether you are conscious of it or not. It is not selective, nor does it discriminate. This law responds to your inner world, to the thoughts and beliefs you hold within your mind. Every thought, every feeling, every assumption you make creates a vibration that sends ripples out into the world, and the universe responds in kind. You may not always be aware of this process, but it is happening every moment of your life. The universe does not wait for you to be in a good mood or in a state of clarity to begin responding. Whether you are aware or not, it is listening. Your thoughts, beliefs, and emotions are constantly being broadcast, and the world around you shapes itself according to these inner vibrations. This means that you are the creator of your own reality. Though many walk through life unaware of the power they possess, if you are experiencing a reality that does not align with your desires, it is because your thoughts and beliefs are not aligned with what you wish to manifest. The law is always working. It is never off, never resting. When you believe that things will always be hard, that money is scarce, that love is distant, the universe will respond by giving you more of the same. The world around you will continue to reflect those beliefs, as it is simply mirroring the energy you put out. But when you change your thoughts, when you begin to align your inner world with the life you wish to create, then your outer world will shift to reflect that alignment. The key is in awareness. Most people go about their days reacting to life, allowing external circumstances to dictate how they feel and think. They give power to what they see, what they hear, and what they experience. But the true power lies not in reacting to life, but in shaping it through your inner state. When you master your thoughts, you master your world. This is not a new concept. Throughout history, great minds have taught us that the inner world dictates the outer. As within, so without is a timeless truth. Yet many remain caught in the cycle of external focus, waiting for things to change before they allow themselves to feel differently. They believe that once the conditions improve, then they can be happy, confident, or abundant. But this is the reverse of how the law works. It is not the outer world that must change first. It is your inner world that must change. Your thoughts are the seeds of your reality. When you focus on thoughts of lack, struggle, or limitation, you are planting seeds that will grow into those very experiences. On the other hand, when you focus on abundance, love, and success, you plant seeds that will bloom into those experiences. The universe does not question these seeds, it simply grows them. To align your thoughts with the life you desire, you must first become aware of what you are thinking and believing. Do you believe you are deserving of success, love, and joy? Or do you harbor subconscious doubts and fears that are shaping your reality? It is important to recognize that the law does not care whether you are consciously aware of your thoughts. It only responds to what you are consistently focused on. Changing your thoughts is not an overnight process. It requires consistent effort and practice. But as you begin to consciously align your thoughts with your desires, you will notice a shift in your life. Opportunities will arise where there were once obstacles. Relationships will improve, and new positive connections will form. You will begin to see evidence of the law working in your favor. The law is always working, whether you are aware of it or not. The world you see around you is a reflection of your inner state. To change your reality, you must begin by changing your thoughts. Align your thoughts with the life you desire, and the universe will follow. In conclusion, it is clear that the universe is always responding to the vibrations we emit from within. Our thoughts, beliefs, and assumptions shape our reality in ways that are often beyond our awareness. By understanding that the law is always working, we can shift our focus from reacting to life to actively creating it. When we align our inner world with our desires, when we live in the end, detached from struggle, embrace stillness, and trust the law, our outer world will follow suit. The universe does not work in isolation. It is a perfect mirror reflecting our internal state. With awareness and intention, we can begin to see our lives transform in alignment with our deepest desires. Thank you for taking the time to absorb and reflect upon this powerful understanding. The universe is always at work on your behalf. Trust it, align with it, and watch as it brings forth the life you truly deserve. You do not need to beg. You do not need to plead. A miracle is not something granted to the deserving, nor is it a rare occurrence meant for a chosen few. A miracle is a shift in perception, a realization that what you seek is already here. When you pray, do not pray as one who lacks, but as one who knows. Close your eyes and see not with sight, but with faith. Feel the reality of your answered prayer. If it is healing you desire, do not ask to be healed. Assume the feeling of wholeness now. If it is provision you seek, do not beg for abundance. Walk as though you already have more than enough. God, the infinite power, is not separate from you. He is within you as you. When you pray, you are not reaching outward, you are awakening to what already exists within. This is why the moment you accept something as real, in your imagination, it begins to crystallize in the physical world. Miracles do not come by struggle, they come by surrender. Let go of the doubt, the fear, the desperate need to control. Say within yourself, "It is done. I receive it now." And the unseen hand of divine power will move mountains to bring your vision into form. Gratitude is the seal upon your prayer. Give thanks, not for what is coming, but for what is. Walk in the feeling of the wish fulfilled, and watch as reality bends to match your inner conviction. The miracle is not something distant. It is here now, waiting for you to believe. Speak it, feel it, trust it, and so it shall be. Prayer is not an act of pleading, nor is it an appeal to a distant power that may or may not grant your request. True prayer is the deep, unwavering conviction that what you seek is already yours. It is not a request, but an inner knowing, a state of being that aligns with the reality you desire. When you pray in this way, you are not looking to an outside force to change your circumstances. You are shifting your awareness to a state where your desire is already fulfilled. To truly understand this, one must let go of the common idea that prayer is about asking and waiting. Many believe that prayer is about convincing God to intervene, as though He withholds blessings until we prove ourselves worthy. But this is a misunderstanding. God does not withhold anything. He does not require endless requests or rituals to be persuaded. The power that creates miracles is already within you, waiting for you to claim what is yours. When you pray correctly, you do not pray as someone who lacks, but as someone who has. You do not focus on what is missing, for that only affirms its absence. Instead, you enter into a state where your desire is already a present reality. If you are seeking love, you do not pray as someone who is lonely. You do not ask and wait, hoping that love will come. Instead, you assume the feeling of already being deeply loved. You live in the consciousness of being cherished, wanted, and valued. In doing so, you align yourself with the reality where love naturally appears in your life. If it is abundance you seek, you do not pray as one who is struggling. You do not plead for money, nor do you lament your lack. Instead, you step into the feeling of already having more than enough. You think, speak, and act as though prosperity is your natural state. When this assumption is held with conviction, it manifests in ways beyond your comprehension. This is not wishful thinking. It is the law of creation. Every moment of your life is an answered prayer. The conditions you see around you are simply the reflection of what you have assumed to be true. If you live in constant worry, assuming that things will go wrong, your world will reflect that. If you believe you are always overlooked, unworthy, or incapable, your life will continue to prove it to you. But the moment you shift into the consciousness of your desire already fulfilled, your outer world must follow. This is why faith is the key. Faith is not blind hope, it is certainty. It is walking in the unseen reality, knowing that what you have accepted inwardly will soon be seen outwardly. The one who truly prays does not look for signs, nor do they check for proof. They rest in the assurance that the work is already done, just as a farmer does not dig up the soil each day to see if the seed is growing. The one who prays in faith does not worry about when or how the manifestation will come. They simply know it is on its way. The greatest mistake people make in prayer is approaching it from a place of desperation. They believe that if they beg hard enough, if they cry enough, if they plead with enough sincerity, then perhaps God will grant their request. But true prayer does not function on effort. It functions on certainty. It is the quiet, unwavering assumption that what is desired is already established. Gratitude is the final seal of true prayer. The moment you give thanks for something, you affirm that it is already yours. This is why those who live in gratitude see their lives filled with abundance. They do not wait for things to change before they give thanks. They give thanks first, and then reality conforms to their inner state. Pray not as one who lacks, but as one who already possesses. Let your prayer be an act of assuming, feeling, and knowing. Do not ask, receive. Do not wish, believe. And what you have accepted in your heart must, in time, appear in your world. God is not a distant force, separate from you, residing in some faraway heaven. He is not an external power you must petition, nor is he an entity that grants or denies blessings based on merit. The truth is far greater than what most have been taught. God dwells within you as your very own consciousness. The divine presence you seek is not outside of you, it is you. The power to shape your reality, to manifest the life you desire, is not something you must acquire. It is something you must awaken to. It has always been within you, waiting for recognition. This understanding changes everything. The moment you realize that God is not separate from you, but is the essence of your being, you stop looking outside yourself for miracles. You stop believing that you must struggle, beg, or prove yourself worthy of divine favor. Instead, you recognize that creation responds to your inner state. Your life, as it appears now, is nothing more than a reflection of your consciousness, of what you have accepted as true about yourself and the world. When you truly grasp this, you see that manifestation is not about forcing things to happen. It is not about using willpower to bend reality to your desires. The key is not effort, but awareness. The moment you become aware of yourself as already possessing what you seek, reality has no choice but to conform. You are always creating, whether you realize it or not. Every thought, every assumption, every deep-seated belief is a form of prayer, shaping your world in ways seen and unseen. Miracles are not rare gifts granted to a select few. They are the natural outpouring of an awakened consciousness. To those who understand, miracles are not supernatural, they are simply the result of a shift in awareness. The sick become well, the poor become prosperous, the lonely find love, not because an external power intervenes, but because they have stepped into the awareness of already being whole, abundant, and loved. The moment you assume the consciousness of your desire fulfilled, unseen forces begin arranging circumstances in your favor. Many struggle because they still hold on to the idea that power lies outside of them. They believe that if they perform the right actions, say the right words, or follow the right traditions, they will be blessed. But all of this is unnecessary. The only thing required is the shift in your awareness, the deep, unshakable knowing that what you desire is already yours. This is why faith is so powerful. Faith is not about hoping for something to happen. It is about knowing it has already happened. The one who truly understands does not wait for proof, nor do they seek validation from the external world. They trust completely, resting in the certainty that their assumption must solidify into reality. When you accept this truth, doubt fades away. You no longer waver, no longer question when or how. You simply live in the end, knowing that the unseen must become seen. But to maintain this awareness, you must guard your thoughts. The world around you will try to convince you otherwise. It will present you with appearances of lack, delay, and impossibility. But do not be deceived by what your eyes see. Circumstances do not create consciousness. Consciousness creates circumstances. The outer world is simply a mirror reflecting back the contents of your mind. What are you accepting as true? Are you living in the awareness of limitation, or are you resting in the knowing that all things are possible? The choice is yours. The moment you claim your divine inheritance, the moment you stand firm in the awareness of your own creative power, life will begin to transform before your very eyes. The power to manifest miracles has never been outside of you. It has always been within, waiting for you to awaken to it. Faith is not about seeing with the physical eyes, but with the inner vision. It is the ability to look beyond appearances, beyond circumstances, beyond the limitations of the material world, and to see what is yet unseen. Faith is knowing that what you accept as true in your inner world will inevitably manifest in your outer reality. It is not wishful thinking or blind optimism. It is the law of creation in action. Everything that exists in the physical realm first began as an unseen reality in someone's consciousness. The world you experience is nothing more than a reflection of your internal beliefs. If you accept lack, struggle, and limitation as truth within, then you will continue to see these conditions in your life. But if you accept abundance, love, and fulfillment as your reality, even before there is physical proof, then the world must conform to that assumption. The process of creation is not one of force, nor is it dependent on external conditions. It is the quiet, effortless unfolding of what has already been established in the mind. This is why faith is so powerful. It is the bridge between the unseen and the seen, between possibility and reality. Those who understand this no longer rely on what their eyes tell them. They do not wait for circumstances to change before they believe. They believe first, and then circumstances must follow. The mistake many make is allowing the physical world to dictate their faith. They say, "I will believe it when I see it." But this is the exact opposite of how faith works. Faith says, "I will see it because I believe it." Miracles happen when belief overrides doubt. The only thing that stands between you and the life you desire is the doubt that creeps into your mind, the hesitation that questions whether it is truly possible. But doubt is not real. It is only the absence of belief. The moment you refuse to entertain it, the moment you stand firm in your assumption, you remove the only obstacle between you and your manifestation. Consider this. When you plant a seed in the ground, you do not dig it up each day to check if it is growing. You do not question whether it will become a tree. You know that if you have planted the seed and given it the right conditions, the growth is inevitable. In the same way, once you have accepted something as true in your consciousness, you must rest in that knowing. You do not need to force it, you do not need to beg, and you do not need to check for signs. You simply trust that it is done. The world is filled with those who allow fear and doubt to dictate their reality. They say they want change, but they continue to focus on the absence of what they desire. They pray for healing while dwelling in the awareness of illness. They ask for prosperity while continuing to believe in struggle. But faith does not work this way. Faith demands that you shift your awareness completely. You must no longer see yourself as lacking, but as already possessing. You must no longer speak of delays and obstacles, but of fulfillment and certainty. When belief is strong enough, reality bends to match it. This is why those who truly understand faith live differently. They are not disturbed by circumstances, nor are they moved by temporary setbacks. They know that what they have accepted within will, without fail, appear in the world around them. They do not need to chase or strive. They simply remain in the state of knowing, and the unseen forces of creation work on their behalf. If you desire a miracle, you must first accept that it is already done, not as something that might happen, not as something you hope for, but as something that is already a reality in the unseen. Faith is not passive. It is the active assumption that what you desire is already yours. The moment you align with this truth, doubt loses its power, and the miracle you seek must come to pass. Your imagination is the bridge between the unseen and the seen, between desire and fulfillment. It is not a fleeting daydream or idle fantasy. It is the creative power of God flowing through you. Everything you have ever experienced, whether joyful or painful, whether desired or undesired, was first imagined in some way. Your imagination is not separate from reality. It is the very foundation of it. What you consistently feel and picture within will harden into fact in your life. Most people do not realize this truth. They believe that circumstances shape their lives, that they are at the mercy of fate, chance, or the decisions of others. But in reality, it is the inner world, the world of imagination, that dictates what unfolds in the external world. Look at your life now, at everything that surrounds you. Your relationships, your financial situation, your health, your successes and your struggles are all reflections of the assumptions you have held within. Whether consciously or unconsciously, you have imagined them into being. This is why prayer is not about begging or pleading for change. True prayer is the inner movement of consciousness, the quiet but deliberate act of assuming the feeling of the wish fulfilled. It is the deep knowing that what you have imagined is already yours. When you persist in this state, when you make it more real within than the world around you, then it must manifest. This is not speculation or mere philosophy. It is an unchanging law. The mistake many make is allowing the outer world to dictate their imagination instead of using their imagination to shape the outer world. They see lack and struggle, and they continue to dwell on it in their minds. They replay past failures, reinforcing the very things they wish to escape. But the secret to transformation is simple. Imagine only what you desire to experience. If you desire abundance, you must see yourself as already abundant. Feel it. Walk in that awareness. Let it become so real within you that the idea of lack feels foreign. If you desire love, do not focus on loneliness or the absence of affection. Instead, immerse yourself in the feeling of being deeply loved, cherished, and valued. If you seek healing, do not dwell on illness or pain. See yourself whole, vibrant, and strong. Your body and circumstances must conform to what you have consistently impressed upon your imagination. It is not enough to imagine something once and then return to doubt and fear. The key is consistency. Whatever you persist in assuming will become your reality. This is why many struggle. They waver between faith and doubt, between belief and fear. But the one who understands remains unwavering. They know that the unseen is just as real, if not more real, than what the senses perceive. They trust that what they have imagined will harden into fact. To truly grasp this, you must move beyond mere intellectual understanding and apply it in your daily life. Observe your thoughts. What are you constantly picturing within? What emotions are you dwelling in? If you wish to change your life, you must first change what you consistently feel and picture in your mind. Begin today. Close your eyes and see yourself as you wish to be. Feel it deeply. Let it become so natural to you that it feels like the only reality. And then persist. When you do this, you will no longer pray in desperation, hoping that something outside of you will change your circumstances. Instead, you will pray with confidence, knowing that what you have imagined is already unfolding. You will move through life with an unshakable faith, because you understand that your imagination is the bridge to answered prayer. The world may call it a miracle, but you will know it as the law in action. When you pray, the greatest mistake you can make is to concern yourself with how and when your desire will manifest. The mind, conditioned by the world, seeks certainty in the form of timelines and methods, wanting to see proof before believing. But true prayer does not operate in this way. It is not about forcing things to happen or controlling every detail. It is about surrendering to the unseen reality and trusting that it is already done. The moment you fully accept that your prayer is answered, reality will rearrange itself to reflect that truth. You must understand that creation is already finished. Every possible outcome, every potential version of your life already exists. When you pray, you are not bringing something into existence. You are simply aligning yourself with the version of reality where your desire is already fulfilled. This is why it is essential to detach from the process. The moment you declare something as yours, the unseen forces of life begin moving to bring it into form. Your only task is to remain in the state of knowing, unwavering in your conviction that it is already so. Doubt is the only thing that delays manifestation. The moment you question whether it will happen, you shift yourself out of alignment with your desire. Many people pray, but instead of resting in faith, they constantly look for signs, question if they are doing it right, or worry about how long it will take. This very act of questioning interferes resistance. If you plant a seed and keep digging it up to check if it is growing, you interfere with the process. But if you trust that the seed is doing what it is meant to do, you leave it undisturbed, knowing that in due time it will sprout. So it is with prayer. The moment you have assumed the feeling of the wish fulfilled, your work is done. You do not need to chase, force, or beg. You do not need to ask, when will it happen or how will it happen? These questions only reinforce the idea that your desire is separate from you. But the truth is, what you have accepted in consciousness is already a fact. It exists now, even if the physical world has not yet caught up. If you order something online, you do not sit by the door anxiously wondering if it will arrive. You trust the process. You know that it is on its way. You go about your day with a quiet assurance that it will be delivered. This is the mindset you must cultivate with prayer. The moment you have placed your order in the unseen, through your assumption and belief, you must let go and trust. This trust is not passive. It is a deep inner conviction. You continue living as though it is already done. You speak, think, and act in harmony with your fulfilled desire. You are not waiting. You are being. You do not wonder if you will receive. You know that you have received. And because reality must conform to your inner state, it will, without fail, reflect that truth. When you master this, you will no longer pray from a place of lack. You will no longer feel anxious or desperate. You will pray with authority, knowing that what you seek is already yours. The world may not understand this power, but you will see its effects in every area of your life. The more you detach from the how and when, your only responsibility is to assume the state of the wish fulfilled and persist in it. Do this and life will unfold in ways beyond your comprehension. The right people, the right circumstances, and the perfect timing will all fall into place effortlessly. Not because you forced them to, but because you aligned yourself with the inevitable. This is the secret to answered prayer. Gratitude is not just an emotion. It is a powerful creative force. It is the language of miracles, the bridge between the unseen and the seen. When you give thanks as if your request has already been fulfilled, you align yourself with the reality where it exists. This is the key to effortless manifestation, acting as though what you desire is already yours, without doubt, without hesitation. Most people express gratitude only after receiving what they want. They wait for evidence before they believe, before they give thanks. But this is backwards. True gratitude precedes the manifestation. It is the sign of unwavering faith, the knowing that what you have asked for is already done. When you cultivate this level of gratitude, reality has no choice but to rearrange itself to match your inner conviction. The world operates on vibration. Every thought, every feeling carries a frequency. Gratitude is one of the highest frequencies, aligning you with abundance, joy, and fulfillment. When you dwell in gratitude, you send out a signal to the universe that you already possess what you desire. And because like attracts like, this signal draws your desire into physical form. This is why those who live in gratitude seem to receive more and more to be thankful for. They are constantly tuning into the reality where abundance flows effortlessly. To use gratitude as a tool for manifestation, you must learn to give thanks in advance. Before you see any change, before you receive any proof, you must express deep, genuine appreciation. Not as a ritual or mere words, but as a state of being. You must feel the joy, the relief, the excitement, as if it has already happened. This is the essence of true faith. Imagine for a moment that your greatest desire has already been fulfilled. How would you feel? What emotions would flood your heart? Peace, excitement, a deep sense of relief. Now hold on to that feeling. Make it real within you. This is how you should pray. Not by asking repeatedly, but by giving thanks, as if it is already done. Many fail to manifest because they focus on the lack, on what is missing. They pray for abundance while feeling poor, for love while feeling lonely, for healing while focusing on illness. This contradiction blocks the very thing they seek. But when you shift into gratitude, you shift into receiving mode. You no longer operate from a state of lack, you operate from fulfillment. You must train yourself to see beyond appearances. Even if your current reality does not yet reflect your desire, you must not be swayed by what your senses tell you. Gratitude is an act of faith, a declaration that the unseen is just as real as the seen. When you give thanks for something that has not yet appeared, you accelerate its arrival. This practice applies to every area of life. If you seek financial abundance, give thanks for the wealth that is already flowing to you. If you desire love, express gratitude for the deep, fulfilling relationship that is already yours. If you long for healing, thank your body for its perfect restoration. Whatever you seek, let your gratitude affirm that it is already accomplished. Gratitude does not mean ignoring challenges or pretending that difficulties do not exist. It means choosing to focus on what is true beyond appearances. It means recognizing that, regardless of what the outer world shows, the inner reality is already set in motion. When you make gratitude a way of life, miracles become inevitable. Each day, before you go to sleep, take a moment to reflect on all that you are grateful for, not just for what you have, but for what is coming, for what is already done in the unseen. Feel the joy of fulfillment, and let that be the state in which you rest. When you wake up, begin your day the same way, with a heart full of thanks, knowing that life is always working in your favor. Gratitude is the ultimate prayer. It is the assurance that what you seek is already yours. When you master this, you will no longer wonder when your desires will manifest. You will know without a doubt that they are unfolding perfectly. And soon, what was once invisible will become undeniable. This is the power of gratitude, the language of miracles. The power of prayer is not in pleading, but in knowing. It is not in asking repeatedly, but in assuming the feeling of the wish fulfilled. God dwells within you as your own consciousness, and the miracles you seek are already present in the unseen. Faith is the bridge between what is imagined and what is experienced, and gratitude is the language that affirms its reality. When you detach from the how and when you trust completely that your prayer is already answered, life will unfold in perfect alignment with your belief. Your imagination shapes your world, and what you hold in consciousness must externalize itself in time. The moment you truly accept that your desire is fulfilled, reality will shift to reflect it. You are never waiting for miracles. Miracles are waiting for you to align with them. Live in the feeling of already having, speak the words of already receiving, and carry the gratitude of already experiencing. This is the secret to answered prayer. Have you ever felt as though your world was being turned upside down? As if everything that was once stable is now shifting beyond your control? Do not fear. This is not destruction. Before great blessings arrive, life often becomes unpredictable. You may face sudden challenges, unexpected endings, and moments of deep uncertainty. But understand this: God never subtracts without the intent to multiply. What feels like rejection is, in truth, redirection. What appears as loss is simply the pruning before the harvest. One of the first signs that something extraordinary is coming your way is separation. You will notice relationships falling away, old habits losing their appeal, and doors closing without explanation. Do not fight this process. God removes what no longer serves you because He is making space for something greater. Resistance will appear. The path may suddenly seem filled with obstacles, delays, and tests that stretch your faith to its limits. But recognize this: resistance is the signal that you are moving in the right direction. The bigger the blessing, the greater the opposition. This is not the time to retreat. It is the time to stand firm in the unseen promise. And then there is the undeniable inner knowing. You will feel it, a quiet but unwavering certainty deep within you. Even when nothing on the outside affirms it, something inside you will refuse to let go of the vision. That is God's way of whispering, "Hold on. I am about to do something beyond what you imagined." But before the manifestation comes the final test: patience. You will be asked to trust, to believe, and to keep walking even when you cannot yet see the destination. This is where most give up. But those who endure, those who trust despite the silence, will walk into a reality far greater than they ever prayed for. And just when you are ready to surrender, you will begin to see the signs. A sudden opportunity, a chance encounter, a message that seems meant just for you. The unseen world will start aligning in ways beyond your comprehension. So if you are in a season of uncertainty, if you are feeling stretched, tested, or alone, rejoice. Something big is on its way. The preparation may be uncomfortable, but the promise is certain. God is not punishing you. He is positioning you. Your breakthrough is not far. It is already written. All you must do now is trust, believe, and step forward into the unseen. For what is coming is beyond anything you have ever imagined. There comes a moment in life when everything you once relied upon begins to shift, as if the very foundation beneath your feet is crumbling. The stability you once knew seems distant, and what was familiar suddenly feels foreign. You may find yourself questioning why things are falling apart, why relationships are dissolving, why opportunities that seemed so certain are now slipping through your fingers. It is in these moments of deep uncertainty that many feel abandoned, lost in the chaos of unanswered prayers. But what if this apparent destruction is not an end, but a beginning? What if what you perceive as loss is in truth divine preparation for something far greater than you could ever imagine? There is a higher order to all things, a rhythm unseen by the physical eye but deeply felt in the soul. When great change is on the horizon, life must first be rearranged to make room for it. You cannot carry the old into the new. The past must be stripped away so that something greater can take its place. It is not punishment, it is not misfortune. It is simply the divine clearing space for what is meant for you. Consider the ways in which growth happens. A seed, before it becomes a tree, must first break apart beneath the soil. To the untrained eye, it would appear as though the seed is being destroyed, but in reality, it is beginning its transformation. The shell must crack, the roots must push through the dirt, and only after enduring darkness and pressure does it finally break through to the light. Such is the process of elevation. Before you can rise, you must first be broken open. Many resist this breaking, clinging to what is familiar, even when it no longer serves them. They hold on to relationships that drain them, jobs that limit them, environments that keep them stagnant. They pray for change, but fear what it requires. And so, when the shift begins, when people leave, when doors close, when life seems to unravel, they panic. They fight to hold on to what was instead of trusting what is to come. But you cannot step into the next chapter of your life while clinging to the last. The discomfort you feel is not a sign to retreat. It is a call to surrender. Life is removing what no longer aligns with who you are becoming. The friendships that faded, the opportunities that vanished, the plans that fell apart. It was all necessary. If it was meant for you, it would have stayed. If it was removed, it was never truly yours to begin with, or its purpose in your journey has been fulfilled. In the midst of transition, the mind searches for certainty. It wants to understand why things are happening the way they are, why events unfolded as they did. But this process is not meant to be understood from the perspective of the present. It only becomes clear in hindsight. You must trust that what seems like chaos now is actually divine order in disguise. Think of the caterpillar in its cocoon. From the outside, it looks as though it is trapped, undergoing an unseen struggle, but within, a transformation is taking place. The very structure of its being is dissolving, reshaping, preparing for the moment it will emerge as something completely new. If you were to interrupt this process, to force it out before its time, it would never develop the strength needed to fly. So too must you allow your transformation to unfold. At times, the breaking will feel unbearable. You will question why things are happening the way they are. You may feel as though you have been abandoned by life itself, as if everything you worked for has been taken from you without reason. But in those moments, remind yourself that you are not being destroyed, you are being redefined. You are not losing, you are being positioned for something greater. There is no elevation without disruption. There is no growth without discomfort. Those who rise the highest are often the ones who endured the most profound transformation. The ones who trusted even when they could not see. The ones who released what no longer served them and stepped forward, even when the path ahead was unclear. This is not a setback, it is a setup. Life is not punishing you, it is preparing you. The things being stripped away were never meant to be permanent. They were simply the scaffolding, the temporary structures that supported you for a time. Now they must be removed so that you can stand fully in the new reality that awaits you. So let go. Stop fighting to hold on to what is leaving. Stop mourning what is meant to be released. Trust that the space being cleared is making room for something beyond your imagination. What is coming is greater than what was lost. The divine does not take without the intent to give in greater measure. One day you will look back and understand. You will see that what felt like the end was actually the beginning, that the pain was not punishment but preparation, that every loss led to an even greater gain. Until then, trust the process. Trust that life is always working in your favor, even when it feels like it isn't. You are not being broken, you are being transformed, and what is waiting for you on the other side of this moment is beyond anything you have ever known. There comes a time in your journey when the world around you begins to shift in ways you cannot control. The people you once held close start to drift away. The doors that once stood open now close without warning. The familiar conversations fade, and the noise that once filled your days is replaced by an unsettling silence. You may wonder why it is happening, why the ones who were once constant in your life are now absent, why the opportunities that seemed promising have vanished, why you feel more alone than ever before. But what if this isolation is not a punishment but a sign? What if this solitude is not an empty void but a sacred space for transformation? God does not elevate you in the crowd. He separates you first. He pulls you away from distractions, from attachments, from the things that keep you bound to the person you once were. You may feel abandoned, as if the very fabric of your life is unraveling. But what is truly happening is a shedding, a necessary release of all that no longer aligns with your destiny. You cannot move forward while clinging to what was. And so, before the next chapter begins, before the breakthrough arrives, you will find yourself in the wilderness of solitude. This solitude is not a curse, it is a calling. A divine invitation to go deeper, to see more clearly, to become who you were always meant to be. When the noise of the world fades, when the opinions of others no longer cloud your mind, you begin to hear what was always there, the quiet yet powerful voice within. In this silence, you will come to know yourself in ways you never have before. You will see your own strength, your own resilience, your own worth. You will begin to shed the layers of identity that were shaped by others, peeling away the expectations, the false attachments, the need for external validation. The isolation may feel unbearable. Humans are wired for connection, and to suddenly find yourself alone can feel unnatural. You may feel tempted to run back to familiar places, to rekindle old relationships, to seek comfort in the very things that life has been pulling you away from. But you must resist this urge. The separation is happening for a reason. The doors that closed were never meant to remain open. The people who left were never meant to stay. If they were part of your destiny, they would still be here. Let them go. Understand that not everyone is meant to walk with you into the next season of your life. Some relationships were only meant to serve a purpose for a time. Some connections were only meant to teach you lessons, not to last forever. Growth requires distance. Elevation requires separation. If you are being pulled into solitude, it is because God is preparing to reveal something to you that cannot be understood in the presence of distractions. The most profound moments of transformation happen in the quiet. It is in this stillness that you will begin to see the bigger picture, to recognize the patterns, to understand why things had to unfold the way they did. The answers you have been seeking will come, not through others, but through the deep knowing within you. This is the season where you will discover the power that has always been inside you, the strength that was buried beneath the noise, the wisdom that was drowned out by the world. Solitude is where your spirit is refined. It is where your faith is tested. It is where you are stripped of all illusions and left with nothing but the truth. And the truth is this: you were never alone. Even in your most isolated moments, even when it felt like no one understood, even when the silence felt unbearable, God was there, watching, guiding, preparing. This separation is not the end. It is the beginning. When the time is right, new doors will open. But this time, they will not be doors of illusion or distraction. They will be doors aligned with your highest path. The people who enter your life next will not drain your energy, but uplift you. The opportunities that come will not require you to shrink yourself, but to rise into your fullest expression. Everything that is truly meant for you will find you once you have been prepared to receive it. So embrace the solitude, let it do its work. Allow it to shape you, to strengthen you, to clear the path ahead. The loneliness you feel now is temporary, but the transformation it brings will last forever. You are not being abandoned, you are being elevated. And when you emerge from this season, you will not be the same. You will be clearer, stronger, and more aligned than ever before. This is not a loss. This is preparation for something far greater than you could ever imagine. There will come a moment on your journey when nothing seems to go as planned. The path that once seemed clear suddenly becomes clouded with obstacles. The things that once flowed effortlessly now feel blocked at every turn. You put in the effort, yet nothing moves. You pray, yet the answer seems delayed. You move forward, but resistance meets you at every step. It feels as if everything is working against you. You question whether you should continue or turn back. But what if this opposition is not a sign to stop, but an indication that you are on the verge of something greater? Resistance always comes before revelation. The struggles you are facing are not random. They are not punishment. They are preparation. Every delay, every obstacle, every moment of frustration is shaping you, refining you, strengthening you for what lies ahead. If you were not meant for something greater, there would be no resistance. The fact that you are facing so much opposition is proof that something powerful is unfolding. Think of a seed buried beneath the soil. Before it can break through the surface, it must push through the dirt, the darkness, the weight pressing down on it. The pressure is not meant to destroy it, but to strengthen it for its emergence. And just like that seed, you too are being prepared. The obstacles in your way are not barriers, they are stepping stones. The delays are not denials, they are divine timing at work. Yet in these moments, the mind plays tricks. Doubt creeps in. You begin to wonder if you are doing something wrong, if you have misread the signs, if you should give up altogether. This is where many people turn back. They mistake the resistance for a message to quit. But those who understand the nature of growth know that struggle is part of the process. Every great breakthrough is preceded by opposition. Every transformation requires discomfort. You cannot rise to a new level without first facing the forces that seek to keep you bound to the old one. The opposition you face is not there to stop you. It is there to test you. Do you truly believe in your vision? Will you stand firm when things don't go as expected? Will you keep moving forward when every excuse to quit presents itself? These challenges are refining your character. They are stripping away weakness, self-doubt, and fear. They are forcing you to develop resilience, faith, and patience. Delays can feel frustrating, but they are often the greatest blessings in disguise. What looks like stagnation is actually divine alignment. If something is being delayed, it is because the timing is not yet right. If you were to receive your breakthrough before you were fully prepared, you might mishandle it. There are lessons you must learn, perspectives you must gain, strength you must build before you step into the next level. The delay is not a rejection, it is a divine recalibration. Consider the caterpillar that must endure the darkness of the cocoon before it can emerge as a butterfly. The struggle it faces as it pushes through the cocoon is not a mistake. It is necessary. If someone were to cut the cocoon open prematurely, the butterfly would never develop the strength to fly. The same is true for you. The process may feel slow, the pressure may feel overwhelming, but every challenge is preparing you for the strength you will need to sustain the blessing that is coming. Opposition also serves another purpose. It reveals what is within you. It exposes the parts of you that still operate from fear, that still rely on external validation, that still question whether you are truly capable. And in that exposure, you are given the chance to grow, to release old doubts, to build new confidence, to strengthen your faith, to become someone who no longer reacts to delays with frustration, but with trust. Someone who no longer sees obstacles as roadblocks, but as confirmation that something greater is coming. So when you encounter resistance, do not retreat. Do not shrink back in fear. Do not allow delays to make you doubt. Instead, lean into the process. Trust that every obstacle is shaping you. Trust that the delays are aligning you. Trust that what is meant for you will not pass you by. Keep going. Keep believing. Keep moving forward. The resistance you are facing now is the final test before the breakthrough. The pressure you feel is not a sign that you are failing. It is proof that you are on the verge of transformation. You are being refined, prepared, strengthened for something bigger than you can imagine. And when the moment comes, when the doors finally open, when the delays give way to destiny, you will understand why every obstacle was necessary. When the delays give way to destiny, you will understand why every obstacle was necessary. You will see that nothing was wasted. You will recognize that the resistance was never meant to break you, but to build you into the person who is ready to receive everything that has been waiting for you. There comes a time when everything around you seems uncertain. The world may look unstable, your plans may seem to fall apart, and nothing appears to be going as expected. Yet deep within you there is a quiet voice, a knowing that refuses to fade. It is not loud or demanding, but it is steady, unwavering, and undeniable. No matter how much doubt tries to creep in, no matter how many obstacles arise, this inner conviction remains. This is not wishful thinking, nor is it blind optimism. This is something deeper, something sacred. It is God whispering to you, reminding you that your breakthrough is near. When you are on the verge of something great, external circumstances will often suggest otherwise. You may experience setbacks, delays, and even moments of despair. People may doubt you, opportunities may seem scarce, and the road ahead may feel impossible to navigate. But through it all, there is an unshakable knowing within you that keeps pulling you forward. It is as if your soul already knows what is coming, even if your mind struggles to see it. This inner knowing is not something you create. It is something you receive. It is a divine confirmation, an assurance that cannot be logically explained but can always be felt. It speaks to you in moments of stillness. It strengthens you when fear tries to take over. It reminds you that no matter how things appear, something is shifting in your favor. The breakthrough is already set in motion, and all you have to do is trust. Yet, trusting in this knowing is not always easy. The logical mind demands evidence. It wants proof before belief. It looks at what is happening on the outside and insists that nothing is changing. But faith operates differently. Faith is the ability to stand firm even when there is no visible proof. Faith listens to the whisper of certainty rather than the noise of doubt. Faith does not wait for the manifestation to believe. It believes first, knowing that the manifestation must follow. There is a reason why you feel this inner certainty despite everything around you seeming chaotic. It is because what is coming is already yours. You are not chasing it. You are aligning with it. You are not wishing for it. You are stepping into it. The unshakable knowing within you is evidence that what you seek is already making its way to you. Consider a mother in the final weeks of pregnancy. She may not see the child yet, but she knows beyond a shadow of a doubt that it is there. The waiting does not make her question whether the child exists. The discomfort does not make her doubt whether birth will happen. She carries the certainty within her, even when she cannot yet hold what she knows is coming. In the same way, you are carrying the promise of what is to come. The discomfort, the waiting, and even the uncertainty are all part of the process. But the knowing within you, that is the ultimate sign that you are on the brink of something extraordinary. This is why, when you feel that inner conviction, you must hold on to it. Do not allow external circumstances to shake your belief. Do not let temporary obstacles make you question the inevitable. The very fact that you feel this deep certainty means that God has already set things in motion. Your breakthrough is not something you need to force into existence. It is something that is unfolding in divine timing, but patience is required. Those who give up too soon never get to witness the full manifestation of their faith. The moment just before a breakthrough often feels the most challenging. The pressure increases, the obstacles seem greater, and the waiting feels unbearable. But this is not a sign to quit. It is a sign that you are closer than ever. The resistance before a breakthrough is always the greatest, because transformation requires endurance. Many people dismiss their inner knowing because they expect the journey to be easy. They believe that if something is truly meant for them, it should arrive without struggle. But nothing great is birthed without a process. A diamond is not formed without pressure. A butterfly does not emerge without the struggle of breaking free from the cocoon. And in the same way, your breakthrough requires that you hold firm, even when everything around you tries to convince you otherwise. The key is to cultivate trust. When doubt whispers, remind yourself of the certainty that has been placed within you. When circumstances seem to contradict what you believe, remember that reality is always shifting. What you see now is not the final chapter. Keep moving forward, keep believing, and do not waver in your conviction. You will look back and realize that the knowing you had was never wrong. You will see that every delay had a purpose, that every obstacle strengthened you, and that every moment of uncertainty was simply a test of your faith. You will step into what you always knew was yours, and when you do, you will understand why God placed that unshakable knowing within you from the very beginning. There is a moment in every journey when the waiting becomes difficult, when doubt creeps in, and when you wonder if what you desire will ever come to pass. It is in this moment that faith is truly tested. Before receiving something big, you must first prove that you can trust without seeing, that you can believe even when there is no visible evidence. This is not a punishment, it is preparation. It is the divine testing of patience and faith. God stretches your faith before He delivers His promise, not to make you suffer, but to make you ready. Faith is not needed when everything is going well. It is not tested in moments of ease or certainty. Faith is proven in the unseen, in the silence, in the waiting. It is in these moments when nothing seems to be happening that God is watching closely. Will you trust Him even when you don't see the results yet? Will you hold on to His promise even when there is no proof? This is where true faith is formed, not in receiving, but in believing before the manifestation arrives. Most people struggle with this process because they want immediate results. They want to see movement, signs, or confirmation before they fully commit to believing. But faith does not work that way. Faith asks you to believe first, to trust before you see, to walk forward even when the path is unclear. It requires surrendering control, releasing the need for instant gratification, and allowing divine timing to unfold. There is a reason why the greatest blessings do not come instantly. If everything arrived the moment we asked for it, there would be no growth, no transformation, and no deepening of trust. The waiting is not a delay, it is a divine process. It is in the waiting that character is built, endurance is strengthened, and faith is refined. Every great blessing requires preparation, and that preparation often comes in the form of patience. Think of a seed planted in the ground. The moment it is placed beneath the soil, it begins its journey of transformation. But in the beginning, nothing is visible. There is no sign of growth, no proof that anything is happening. Yet beneath the surface, roots are forming, stretching deep into the earth, preparing to sustain what will soon break through. If someone were to dig up the seed too soon, they would assume it was lifeless, but in reality, it was growing all along. The same is true for your desires, your prayers, your dreams. Just because you cannot see progress does not mean it is not happening. This is where faith is required. Faith asks you to trust the unseen, to believe in the process, and to remain steadfast even when nothing appears to be changing. The greatest rewards go to those who do not give up, who do not allow the silence to shake their confidence, and who continue to walk forward even when there is no visible sign of movement. Patience is not just about waiting. It is about how you wait. Anyone can wait, but very few can wait with unwavering trust. Many become frustrated, discouraged, or doubtful when things do not happen on their timeline. But those who truly understand the divine process remain at peace. They know that every delay is divine alignment, that every moment of waiting is a step closer to fulfillment. They do not allow impatience to lead them to settle for less. They do not try to force things before their time. Instead, they trust, they prepare, and they remain faithful. The reason God stretches your faith before delivering His promise is because what He has for you is greater than what you have imagined. But with greater blessings come greater responsibilities. If your faith is not strong enough to endure the waiting, how will it be strong enough to handle what is coming? If you cannot trust Him in the unseen, how will you trust Him when challenges arise, even after you receive the blessing? Faith is a muscle, and like any muscle, it must be stretched to grow. Every moment of waiting is an opportunity to strengthen that faith, to deepen your trust, and to align yourself with the higher purpose behind your desire. The process is not about testing whether you are worthy. It is about preparing you to fully receive and sustain what is meant for you. Many people give up right before their breakthrough. They grow tired of waiting and assume that if something has not happened yet, it never will. But they fail to realize that the moment when faith feels hardest to hold on to is often the moment right before everything shifts. The greatest blessings require endurance, and endurance is built through patience. So if you find yourself in a season of waiting, do not be discouraged. Do not mistake silence for absence. Do not allow impatience to shake your trust. Instead, lean into faith more deeply. Remind yourself that what is meant for you cannot be taken away, that divine timing is always perfect, and that every moment of waiting is a step toward the fulfillment of the promise. When the breakthrough finally arrives, you will see why the waiting was necessary. You will understand that every delay was actually positioning you for something greater. You will look back and realize that the faith you built during the process was just as valuable as the blessing itself. And in that moment, you will know without a doubt that God was always working, even when you could not see it. There are moments in life when things seem to align in ways that defy logic, when signs appear so clearly that they cannot be ignored. These moments are not coincidences, they are divine synchronicities, guiding you towards something greater. When God is about to give you something big, the unseen world begins to communicate with you in unexpected ways. Messages will appear in dreams, through conversations, and even in the words of strangers. Every detail is orchestrated in your favor, moving you closer to your breakthrough. These signs may come in subtle ways at first. A song on the radio that speaks directly to your situation, a random phrase in a book that answers a question you've been asking, or a stranger who unknowingly delivers a message that resonates deeply. At first, these moments might seem like mere coincidences, but as they continue to appear, you begin to realize they are part of something much bigger. The unseen world is aligning everything, whispering to you that your desires are being fulfilled. One of the most common ways these messages arrive is through dreams. In the stillness of the night, when the conscious mind is at rest, divine guidance flows freely. Some dreams come as direct visions, revealing what is to come. Others are more symbolic, requiring you to pay attention to emotions, imagery, and themes. When a dream repeats itself, or evokes a deep sense of knowing, it is often a message preparing you for what lies ahead. These dreams are not random. They are glimpses of the unseen forces at work, shifting things in your favor. Beyond dreams, synchronicities will appear in your waking life. You may think of someone and then unexpectedly hear from them. You may be contemplating a major decision when a sign suddenly confirms what your intuition already knew. Repeating numbers, familiar symbols, or meaningful patterns begin to emerge, reminding you that you are on the right path. The world around you begins to reflect your inner state, proving that everything is connected in ways beyond human understanding. These divine signs often come when doubt tries to creep in. Just when you begin to question whether your desires will manifest, an unexpected confirmation appears. A conversation with a stranger might provide the exact reassurance you need. A random event might push you in the direction you were hesitant to take. This is how the unseen world works, moving through people, places, and circumstances to lead you where you are meant to go. And these synchronicities serve as a call to take action. When an opportunity arises that aligns with what you have been praying for, it is not a mistake. When the right people show up in your life at the perfect time, it is not by accident. The universe is responding to your faith, arranging everything according to divine timing. Your only task is to recognize these moments and trust them. Many people dismiss these signs, believing them to be coincidences. But nothing in this world happens without purpose. The more you pay attention, the more you realize that life is always communicating with you. The people you meet, the situations you encounter, and the unexpected messages that come your way are all part of the divine orchestration. Every detail is intentional, guiding you towards something far greater than you can see. Sometimes the messages come in ways that challenge you. A door closing, a sudden change in plans, or a delay that forces you to wait. All of these are signs too. Not all synchronicities are about moving forward immediately. Some are about pausing, redirecting, or preparing. If something you desire does not come as expected, it is not a rejection but a realignment. What is meant for you will always find its way, and the signs will continue to appear until you fully trust the process. The most powerful synchronicities are the ones that stir something deep within you. It may be an unexplainable feeling of knowing, a moment of overwhelming peace, or a sudden realization that everything is happening exactly as it should. This is the unseen world affirming that you are not alone, that your prayers have been heard, and that your breakthrough is unfolding. When you start seeing these unexpected signs and synchronicities, do not ignore them. Pay attention. Write them down. Reflect on them. Trust them. The more you acknowledge them, the more they will appear. The more you trust, the clearer the path becomes. You are being guided, supported, and aligned with something far greater than you can imagine. When God is about to give you something big, the signs will be undeniable. You will hear messages in unexpected places, see patterns too precise to be random, and feel an inner knowing that cannot be shaken. This is the unseen world at work, aligning everything in your favor. Stay open, stay aware, and most importantly, stay in faith. What is coming is already yours. When God is about to give you something big, He prepares you in ways that may not always make sense at first. Your life may feel disrupted, but it is only being rearranged for something greater. You may experience isolation, but this solitude is where clarity and strength are born. Unusual opposition and delays may arise, but they are not roadblocks. They are signs that you are stepping into something beyond what you can currently see. Amidst all of this, an unshakable inner knowing will persist, reminding you that your breakthrough is near. Your faith will be tested, but this testing is not to break you. It is to strengthen your trust in what you cannot yet see. And when the time is right, unexpected signs and synchronicities will begin to appear, confirming that everything is aligning in your favor. Through it all, remember that nothing is happening by chance. Every delay, every test, and every sign is a part of a divine plan leading you to something greater than you can imagine. Trust the process. Hold on to faith even when the path is unclear. What is meant for you is already unfolding. And when the moment arrives, you will realize that every challenge was simply preparation for the blessing ahead. Thank you for listening. Stay strong, stay faithful, and be ready. Your time is coming.